Happy day 56 of videos that I have been making every single day to share with you my goals, my priorities. Hopefully you get to know me through this. You get to know what's important to me, and you're learning. As I learn, I have attended council meetings for 2 years and have learned a ton. I am super into this kind of thing. And so for me, that's why the campaign started 55 days ago, making a video every day, sharing with you. Now today, I was so happy yesterday that I got to share with you the 5-step council action plan. That's how we will make decisions, and that's how I will communicate that to you as mayor. Remember, the mayor is the chief spokesperson of the council. The mayor leads the council as we make decisions together and discuss at committee of the whole meetings and regular council meetings that are in plain view of the public so that you can see what's happening. But then it really is incumbent on the mayor. I know we've gotten used to in our municipality this not happening, but it is incumbent on the mayor to share with you what is happening. And I do want to bring to you my commitments as mayor. They're on the website. They're also on this card. If you've seen this, if you haven't yet, I'm coming to a door near you with it. But that's tomorrow. Today, I want to share with you kind of the state of the campaign. A lot of people say to me, how's the campaign going? I want to share with you kind of signs, dollars, some of the things coming up. But before I do that, because today is day 56, I thought it would be really great, because a lot of you are, again, just coming on boards, getting these in your hands, seeing my signs, and becoming aware of all the work I've been doing, the share I've been doing, this really labor of love. I really, really do enjoy getting into this stuff and sharing this kind of content with you and learning and teaching together. I want to give you a rundown of the last 55 days, kind of the phases that we've been through. So if you're wondering, hey, Mark, I missed all the previous videos. Well, previously on, and this will give you a sense of if you want to go back and check in on some videos, then here's what you will learn in those videos. Okay, so we started out, as I said, 56 days ago, and days 1 to 10 were basically me sharing with you why I'm running for mayor, my passion for this, why I think I'm suited to it, how I'm raising a family here in St. Stephen, how I plan to live out the rest of my days here. I do own a home, and my wife is with Horizon and Population Health, and again, 2 kids at the middle school, and that is why I am running. My leadership background experience, owning a business, really wanting to serve in this way, and knowing I'm equipped for it, and then seeing like, what does the challenges in St. Stephen right now, what do we need in a mayor? And when you look at the mayor job description, I fit it to a T, and so that's why I'm running, as well as just being passionate about this community and the amazing people in it. I talked about my background, what brought me to St. Stephen, and essentially what I'm hoping for is more transparency, more clarity, and more accountability from the person at the fore of council. The mayor needs to be responsible to do that. Again, that's kind of touching on my commitments as mayor, and I'll get more into that tomorrow. Days 11 to 20 were more about how the municipal government actually works. I still get questions of, what is a CAO? Who the heck is that? And of course, I don't want to say, just go watch my videos. So I find myself repeating this again and again. I'm so excited by how this campaign has actually engaged people. People are saying, I've never voted, but I'm going to vote now because I think I understand a little bit more between the difference between the staff and the council. And I'm doing this because, I've said you need to conceive of it as an hourglass shape where the council decides what to do based on us as residents, our priorities, what we need done at any given time. You will tell your council will deliberate that and plan it in public, again, using this 5-stage action plan. And then once that is decided, it is sent to the staff. The staff is managed by the chief administrative officer, and the staff determines how this the what gets implemented. Okay, so again, I really got into detail on that on days 11 to 20 and talked about committee of the whole meetings versus regular council meetings, what happens in both, why they exist, how bylaws come into effect. You need 3 readings, and between those readings, that's where adjustments are made. And if you have paid attention for 56 days now, you're like, I got this, it's old hat. But again, many of us are still unclear about that, just catching up on those videos. This is the thing, I'm also, a teacher. Like, I have built my global brand, teaching information, bringing people along, speaking at public events, and so one thing that I really, really love to do is take kind of complex ideas and simplify them and make them digestible. That's the first thing. But also, as your mayor, I will constantly be sharing with you how things work, never taking for granted or never assuming that because not everybody does. And I'm noticing in other council meetings when I watch them, the mayor often at the beginning of council will have some kind of opening remarks sometimes about how things are going to work, preparing residents for what they might see, that kind of thing, like procedurally. And I think it's really important for you to know as a resident. If you're not in the weeds on this all day long, which of course you're not, you have family, you have kids, you have recreational activities, you have friends, you're working, you're playing, you are electing a council to do this on your behalf. But when you dip in, the information should be accessible and clear, and you should be able to understand what is happening in a way that right now sometimes it feels pretty opaque. So that will change when I am the mayor. Now, days 21 to 30 were more about money and budget. So I did bring out kind of our municipal budget, $14.9 million. How does it get divvied up? How much of that is property tax? How much of that is provincial, federal, granting? How is it spent? How is it earmarked? What are the different buckets? Capital budget versus operational budget versus water and sewage usage budget, that kind of thing. And so you can find all that, I'll say it again, police, pipes, and pavement, right? How are those things divvied up? That is the lion's share of a municipal budget, but there are also staff. I explained mill rates, and if you're like, what the heck is that? Go back to days 21 to 30. I talked about our property tax assessments. If you own a home or property, you did get your assessment from the province, and then the municipality sets the rate based on your assessment per $100. The rural ward of St. Stephen, Rural 1, is about 56 cents per $100 assessed. The urban ward, Ward 2, is about $1.56 per $100 assessed. And of course, the rural ward also pays a Department of Transportation fee of 41 cents or so because roads out there are provincially managed. Okay, so there's the rural, there's the urban, and there's a different rate, and then there's water lines that are more urban because they're used urban as opposed to rural, which often has their own wells and septics and that kind of thing. That's all days 21 to 30. Kind of follow the money. How is it assessed? How is it collected? How is it spent? We always want the rural and urban money divided up fairly because you don't want to be paying for services you're not using, okay? Days 31 to 38 were more about our infrastructure and reality checks around that. So as I said, the roads, the paving plan, the capital plan, I did roll out to you the roads that are, there is a 2026 and a capital plan in terms of replacing capital, which is roads and trucks and things like that that are aging. We are constantly paying for aging infrastructure. That's a liability on the books that we need to always be catching up on and updating. And when the money's not there, these things do fall into decay and wear out. So a lot of the priority needs to be on that. This is why municipalities always need to be running a surplus, right? You're going to hear me say that over and over again, because how else would we pay for the infrastructure, this daily operation? Operational costs generally are things that you would pay for within a year, pencils, salaries, that kind of thing. But anything that has a life of kind of beyond a year, that's more of a capital budget. That's just kind of a general way of thinking about it. Now, days 39 to 45, we're breaking down key documents about what council is doing. I kind of taught you or deciphered with you how to access the agenda, read the agenda, how to find the documents attached to the agenda, etc. And we really broke that down before and after the meeting. That's something I will do as mayor. Then days 46 and 47 57. This is more targeted now, but I was talking about municipal versus federal versus provincial roles, the levels of government, and who's in charge of like healthcare, criminal law, water and roads, and how there is some intersecting there. You know, how even though there's different levels of government, we got to stop doing the passing the buck. Municipalities really need to advocate for ourselves and stop saying, well, you know, policing, that's just not our thing. We just pay the RCMP and that's a provincial thing. No, we need to advocate for ourselves. There needs to be maybe consideration around public appetite for more bylaw officers. I have been asked to talk more about safety. I am wanting to speak to, I'm speaking to a lot of individuals right now, business leaders and things, and Corporal Peter Lambert is somebody who I'll be meeting with, and just not talking just policing, but what can the municipality do to increase public safety in general? I don't want to just kind of shoot from the hip on that though. I really want to have a sense of what is possible before we talk about what we can do and what we can take responsibility for as a municipality. Days 48 to 52, I talk more about homelessness because this is coming up a lot at the doors. People say, what are you going to do about homelessness? What do we do about homelessness? What do we do about kind of crime and issues of public safety around the downtown? So like I said, there is an overlap there with public safety. And I talked about examples of what Peterborough is doing, what Duncan is doing. Those are success stories. So if you're interested in that, because it is such an important topic for residents, as I knock on doors, I spent a few days talking about that. Then I talked about council transparency. The regular meeting came up, and so I talked about the meeting, the agenda. We did all that thing again, and how I will do this as mayor. And then the last couple of days, we talked about water infrastructure, the plan. I used the 5-stage plan, and I used our water infrastructure as an example by which we will talk about how to move through our 5-step plan for anything. So water is one of the things, but first we understand it, then we plan it, then we deliberate it, then we adapt and adopt it, and then we build it, right? Whatever the it is, that is how we're going to move forward and build up St. Stephen. State of the campaign in the last few minutes. I have, for signs, a lot of you are asking for signs. Do you have a sign left? Yes, I have. My first order was for 75 signs. On the very first thing I did, I mentioned to you before, and many thanks to St. Croix Signs and Printing, my postcards, I ordered 1,000 of those. Those were $239 and change. Then I made an order last week for signs, 75 signs, lawn signs with the stakes, and 5 4x8 signs. Those are going to go up this week when the ground thaws a little bit more, hopefully, although we're supposed to get more snow. But the total on that, friends, 75 signs, lawn signs, and 5 4x8 signs was $2,000 and change, including tax. So there it is. So in total, I have spent $2,244.80. Now, at the very beginning of my campaign, I said I'm asking for $2,737. I really wanted to make it specific. So our total spending right now is at $2,244.80. I have received through many of you such generous donations. We are up to $885. Now, if you go to my buildupststephen.ca page, you'll see a number slightly less than that, 700 and some, but I have been given $150 in cash. Just people saying, here's cash, buy what you need. And so that put this towards your $2,737. So I really appreciate that. So it looks $150 lower on that page, but if you want to help me out, friends, I really do need your help. If you want a sign, please ask me for a sign. Go through the website or message me here. Give me your address and I will be there. Like I say, 33 signs have been spoken for out of 75. So you're noticing those going up all around town. I do have more, but I'm going to depend on you to make a second order. I made a video on this, but to refresh your memory, 50 signs is about $1,200, $1,113 plus tax. And so those lawn signs, if I were to order another 50, it would cost over $1,000. Again, I've told you that $2,737 is kind of where I wanted to start in terms of lawn signs to get the word out, and signs on the kind of larger signs that I'll be putting up around town. Ultimately, the reason for signs, right, is so people can discover this. They're going to be, people are going to be looking at all the candidates and saying what they're saying, what their positions are, how do they communicate, what do they plan to do. Getting the word out is ultimately what inspires people to get out to the polls. Remember this abysmal statistic. Only 1 in 3 eligible voters vote in municipal elections. It's about a 30% turnout rate usually, which means a lot of people don't care. If you're watching this, you do. But one way, of course, to make anybody do something is to remove the friction, to make it easy, which is very possible when somebody sees a candidate, listens to them, is interested in what they have to say, and says, I think I want this person leading a council that we can trust, building a home we're proud of, and using an action plan that we all understand. Those, of course, that is exactly how I want to conduct your future council. So please help me out by making a donation. BuildUpSt.Stephen.ca. Right on the homepage, you'll see where you can do that. It is PayPal, but you don't need PayPal to donate. You can click on that and pay with a credit card completely outside, or a debit card completely outside of PayPal. Of course, if you have a PayPal account, it's very easy. If you want to sign, I am only about halfway through them, right? 33, 34 out of 75, but it only took a week to get out those 33 signs, which means, with 6 weeks left, I'm going to need a lot more signs. But let's just try to cover off the $2,700 first. Some people say to me, Mark, why don't you just fund your own campaign? Here's the reason why. If I can't get the financial support, $5, $10, $15, $50, $20 at a time, and please don't be intimidated by donations that you see that are $100, $50. $5, $10 makes a huge difference. But if I can't get that financial support, then it shows that I don't have the support. And so I will not be draining my own bank account for a campaign that's not getting traction. So that's why your 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever donations you want to make, that shows that there is support. And so I'm doing everything I can, knocking on doors, talking to business leaders, talking to nonprofit leaders, talking to police, talking to everybody I can, and at the same time, the way that you bolster me through all this is to help me out financially. So thank you to those of you who have been so generous, and grab a sign for your lawn so that other people can see what I'm doing here, what I'm saying here, and make a really informed decision on May 11th. Thank you, friends. That's it for today. I appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow. So until then, take care of yourself and your neighbor. Let's build up St. Stephen together. BuildUpSt.Stephen.ca. Appreciate you and your support. Cheers.